What's going on, Spurs family? Welcome to Spurs Talk with Ahanu. Um, I want to talk about something that's not really talked about in mainstream media. Well, anything San Antonio Spurs not talked about in mainstream media unless it's drama. I mean, when we was in those championship years, we rarely get talked about on ESPN. But once you have drama like the Kawhi situation, it's like, oh, we all over the news. I get it. They got to keep the ratings up, but it's not honest to the game of basketball. And to be honest to the game of basketball, you can't have a person like Tim Duncan, the greatest power forward, and to me, he's top five all time for me. If he done what he did in San Antonio, in New York, or in LA, he'll be top five all time. He'll be top five all time. If he had a career like he had in these different big market cities, oh, he'd be talked about all the time. You have to put him in his top five. But I'm not talking about that. This video was more about, I think Tim Duncan mastered. Now, people probably going to disagree, but I think he mastered the mental warfare of the game better than anybody. Better than anybody. People who like when you talk about mental warfare in games, people will mention Michael Jordan, Larry Bird, Gary Payton, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Garnett, Draymond Green. But all these players got something in common. They talk. And that's expected. Even if you talk trash to them, they're going to, respond. They're going to respond because they feel like they have to get the edge. But Tim Duncan did it in a different way. And I'm gonna say three examples of what I mean. And I never make long videos. I try to make my videos kind of brief. So this is Draymond Green. In his rookie year, obviously Draymond Green talks trash to everybody. In his rookie year, he went off against Tim Duncan, right? And in his quote is, "I do have my Tim Duncan story. My rookie year, I talked all kinds of junk to everybody. In the middle of the game, I started talking to Tim, and I had already gotten into it with somebody on their team. I don't remember who it was, but I started talking to Tim, and he kind of just stared at me. I just kept talking junk to him, and he just kept staring at me. At that point, I realized during the rest of my career, I might as well not talk to him. Either one, he's going to talk back because he has no respect for me, or two, he's not going to talk. He's not going to talk back because that's who he is. Or three, both. I figured that was the time I would talk. That was the last time I would talk junk to Tim, and that was the last time. So, excuse me on that. But yeah, so that's listen to that story. This is Draymond Green. This dude talks trash to everybody. The dude has no care. And Tim Duncan shut all that down. For his entire career, he never talked trash to Tim after that. That is mental warfare domination. He made him feel pointless out there. He made him feel, that's a person second guessing himself. That's a person, he made this person second guess himself. Saying that he just stared at me, he kept talking, he just stared at me. And at that point, I realized during the rest of my career, I might as well not talk to him. Either he's going to talk back or he's not going to. He just, because that's who he is. I figured that's the last time I'm going to talk trash to him. That's a person who literally had to second guess his decision on talking trash to Tim and didn't do it ever again. That's mastering. If that's not mental warfare mastery, I don't know what else is. Now, another story recently, DeMarcus Cousins, another person who's not afraid to talk, talk his thing on the court. And he has a Tim Duncan story, quite similar to Draymond Green, right? So his story, let's go. This is I got this story from Pounding a Rock website, and let's pull up his story. His story, let me see. I gotta find it. So let me see. Sorry about this. I should have pulled this up before I started the video. Okay. So Cousins had a story, and an example. He gave an example of a story that he gave the time he was having a decent game and felt, good enough to go at Tim Duncan. Being the fierce yet stoic competitor Tim Duncan is, he just stared back at Cousins and then proceeded to drop 16 straight points quietly in the fourth quarter. That brought Boogie back to the butt tap comment. After everything in the game happened, Tim approaches him and taps him and tells him, "Good job, big fella," like others before him. Having this happen prompted Boogie to leave Tim Duncan alone going forward. They both had, Draymond Green, didn't say how he points Tim Duncan scored, but it's the fact that they both had similar stories. They talking trash to him, and Tim Duncan is just staring at him, giving them the death stare. Sort of like Terminator. Terminator don't talk much, Terminator don't really talk much. He say a few words and he get busy, and that's what it seems like he does. It seems like Tim Duncan just stares at you and proceed to put buckets on your head, and makes you think, I ain't talking trash to him. And when people had these stories about Michael Jordan, they highlight like, oh man, don't talk trash to Mike. Tim Duncan got these same stories. But the thing is, Tim Duncan, unlike Jordan, Tim Duncan didn't say anything. He didn't say anything. Like Michael Myers, like Michael Myers and Jason, they don't got no words for you. They just killers like that. Tim Duncan's just a killer like that. He ain't gonna say too much. He's just gonna handle business. And then after the game, you're gonna realize that was a bad choice. And then Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett says something that's disrespectful. I really didn't want to put this in here, but in the 1999 playoffs, when Tim Duncan and the Spurs, at some point during that game, Garnett told Duncan Happy Mother's Day. And, profanity after that, as he lined up for the free throw. Again, Tim Duncan didn't reply to it, didn't respond, just proceeded to sweep them on the way to win their first championship in franchise history. So, and Garnett did this to try to get in his head. And I must say that this story have been confirmed. This story has not been confirmed that Garnett has said this. Neither Tim Duncan had confirmed it, nor I haven't heard any confirmation that actually happened. But it is rumors out there that happened in the 1999 playoffs. So as you look at more of these stories, not many people jump out and say, Tim Duncan is nobody could say I'm going to go trash talk Tim Duncan. It's like he's one of the guys, just like they mentioned Jordan. Oh, don't talk trash to Jordan. Tim Duncan is one of the guys you don't talk trash to. And when people try to, it just didn't work. And in most cases, they just figured, let's leave this person alone because it's the mental battle. He makes you second guess yourself. Like, he makes you feel uncomfortable. You're talking trash to this person. He's just staring at you and just putting buckets on your head and letting you do all the talking. After a while, it's like, I ain't talking trash to this guy. And that is another part of Tim Duncan's game that's not really talked about. He's not talked about as this mental warfare assassin, and he is. And I think if he plays for any other franchise, I'm talking about the big market franchises. If he played for the Knicks and had a career like he had, people would have been talking about top 5 easily. If he played for the Lakers and he had a better career for the Lakers than Shaq had. Let's put that simple, right? Let's put that, it's unfair because Shaq kind of bounced around. Let's be honest, he went from Orlando to Lakers and then to Miami, and then Boston and Cleveland and stuff like that. If Tim Duncan had a career like he had with the Lakers, that long career, he never missed the playoffs. Never won less than 50 games unless it was a lockout season. 5 championships, back-to-back MVPs, 3-time Finals MVP. If he did that for the Lakers, man, people would be saying top 5. Top 5. And I think they should say top 5 even more so that he did it in San Antonio. He did it in San Antonio. San Antonio is a small market team, and they just we had a tremendous organization that know how to pick talent. We got a tremendous organization that know how to pick talent ever since the ABA days. Always had talent on this team, and that's what's good about San Antonio. But people. But it was a time, and it probably still is a time where players ain't going to want to. Free agent players ain't going to say, "Oh, I'm going to San Antonio." I'm talking about like superstars. Superstars not going to flock to San Antonio. They flock to the big market teams more times than not, or big market cities more times than not. That happened to us with Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard wanted to go to LA. He wanted to go to LA. He had it good in San Antonio. It was a good organization. San Antonio was a good organization. He wanted to go to LA, big market. It had nothing. I don't think it had anything to do with him wanting to go back home. I think it had everything to do with him wanting to be on the big market, be in a big market city, and just so happened LA is California is where you're from. So for Tim Duncan to do it in that for that long in a small market is high praise. What small market team that Tim Duncan got more championships than some small market teams? That shows you how difficult it is. It's not a knock on other small market teams, but it's that accomplishment, that feat alone. And that also praise to the front office for picking people like Ginobili and Parker. That shows you that we had a good scouting team, a good front office to build things around him, for him to help him, because this is a team sport. You got to give credit when credit's due, to help make Tim Duncan have the career he had. That's it's not. I ain't gonna sit here and say it's all Tim Duncan. You got Greg Popovich, the front office. They did an excellent job scouting, getting the right players to play around Tim Duncan. But with that said, I think Tim Duncan is arguably one of the greatest players at the mental warfare game that really don't get talked about much. So that's my video. I hope y'all enjoy that holiday. Have safe holiday shopping. Hope everybody's doing okay. Stay safe, and peace and blessings.